Ladies and gentlemen, there are so many people in this world who think they have time. They keep saying, "One day I'll do it," but one day is a fancy way of saying never. You wake up every morning, scrolling through your phone, ignoring your goals, avoiding your potential, and numbing yourself with distractions. Why? Because facing yourself is uncomfortable, because growth is painful. But you have to ask yourself, how long will you keep living like you have forever? Time doesn't stop. It doesn't slow down because you're tired, heartbroken, or lost. Time is not your friend if you waste it. It just moves on, and if you're not careful, it'll take your dreams, your energy, your youth, and your purpose with it. Time is the only thing you cannot get back once it is gone. That sentence sounds obvious, right? But if it really sank in, your life would already look different. You would not be spending hours doing nothing meaningful. You would not be putting off the things that matter. You would stop treating your time like it is unlimited, because it is not. Time doesn't ask for permission to move forward. It doesn't wait for you to get ready. It flows whether you flow with it or not. When you waste your time, you are not just wasting hours. You are wasting opportunities. Opportunities to grow, to learn, to become someone better than yesterday. Imagine someone giving you a bag of gold every day and saying, "Use this wisely. If you waste it, you cannot have it back." That is what time is, more valuable than money, more precious than any material thing. Yet people guard their money and not their time. They will get angry if someone steals their wallet, but not if someone steals their whole afternoon. We do not see time as a resource because we cannot touch it, but it touches everything. It touches your health, your relationships, your success, your peace of mind. Every day you delay doing what matters is another day you push your dreams further into the distance. You think you are just relaxing. You think you are just passing time. No, you are spending it. You are trading it. And you are not getting refunds. Some people say they do not have enough time. That is not true. Everyone gets 24 hours. The real issue is not time. It is choices. People choose to scroll for hours and then complain they have no time to work on themselves. They choose to gossip, overthink, procrastinate, binge, and then wonder why their life feels stuck. The truth is hard, but it is also freeing. You are not behind because the universe is against you. You are behind because you keep choosing things that do not push you forward. And if that hurts to hear, good. That discomfort is a sign you still care. It is a sign you still want more from life. So use it, don't run from it, don't numb it, channel it. Take that guilt, that restlessness, that quiet frustration, and let it become fuel. You do not need to change everything today, but you need to change something, 1 hour of full focus. One step toward the thing you have been avoiding, one conversation you keep delaying, that is where the shift begins. You do not need a perfect plan. You do not need motivation every second. You just need to stop wasting what is most valuable. If you love your future, then respect your time. It is not glamorous, it is not dramatic, but it is powerful. Small efforts repeated with discipline become legacies. You do not have to be the smartest, the strongest, or the richest. You just have to be the one who does not waste time. That is who wins, that is who grows. That is who lives a life they are proud of. Distractions are the silent killers of dreams. They do not knock on the door loudly. They do not feel dangerous at first. They come quietly, dressed like comfort, entertainment, or harmless habits, but slowly they steal your focus, your clarity, your momentum. And before you know it, you are halfway through the day, and nothing meaningful has been done. It is easy to ignore how damaging distractions are, because they do not destroy your life all at once. They just slowly waste it, 1 hour at a time. Most people do not even realize they are distracted. They think they are just taking a short break. They check their phone for a second. They reply to a message. They watch a video, scroll a bit, open one more tab, and suddenly 2 hours are gone. Not in deep rest, not in growth, not in joy. Just gone. These small distractions feel innocent, but they pile up like invisible bricks, building a wall between you and your goals. You keep saying you want to change your life, but you cannot even stay focused for 30 minutes without switching apps. The world is built to distract you. Every app, every notification, every buzz is designed to pull your attention away from what matters. Your attention is valuable. That is why companies fight for it. They know what you do not, that where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your life follows. So if your attention is always scattered, your life will be too. You will feel busy but unproductive. You will feel tired but unfulfilled. You will feel like you are working hard but getting nowhere. The scariest part is that distractions often disguise themselves as something important: an email, a breaking news update, a task that feels urgent but is not actually necessary. And sometimes the distraction is not external. Sometimes it is your own mind, overthinking, self-doubt, worrying about things you cannot control. You sit down to do something meaningful, but your mind drags you into imaginary arguments, past regrets, future fears. You spend hours solving problems that do not even exist yet. That is also a distraction, and it is just as dangerous as any screen. People underestimate how much focus is a superpower. In a world where everyone is distracted, the person who learns to focus becomes unstoppable. It is not about being smarter. It is about being present, being intentional, doing one thing at a time, deeply and fully. That is how real work gets done. That is how dreams are built. That is how you begin to feel proud of yourself again. Not by running around trying to do everything, but by doing the right things without letting distractions win. You do not need to cut yourself off from the world. You just need boundaries. You need discipline. You need to train your mind to recognize distractions as threats, not treats. Every time you give in to a distraction, you send a message to your brain: this is more important than my goal. And your brain starts to believe it. It starts to crave the easy path. It starts to resist anything that requires effort. That is how potential dies, not with a crash, but with a sigh and a scroll. You were not born to chase likes. You were not made to be available to everyone all the time. Your value is not measured by your replies or your online presence. It is measured by what you build when nobody is watching. It is measured by how you spend your quiet hours. It is measured by whether you choose to feed your distractions or your destiny. One leads to temporary comfort. The other leads to a life you do not want to escape from. You are responsible for what you do with every hour. That is the truth no one wants to hear because it takes away all the excuses. It means your success is not your parents' job, not your teacher's job, not society's job. It is yours. It means the life you live is the result of the choices you make, not the circumstances you were handed. And yes, maybe life has been unfair. Maybe you did not get the support, the guidance, the comfort that others did. But at the end of the day, time still passes the same for everyone. What you do with it, that is on you. People love to complain that they do not have time, but they have time to complain. They have time to watch shows, to scroll endlessly, to replay their pain like a movie on repeat. And yet, when it comes to reading, planning, learning, building something of value, suddenly they are exhausted. Suddenly they are too busy. The truth is not that they do not have time. The truth is they are not taking responsibility for it. They are letting it slip away like water through their fingers, and then acting surprised when they feel empty. There is a quiet power in owning your time. When you wake up and say, "This day is mine. This hour is mine. What I do with it will reflect who I am becoming." That mindset changes everything. It brings focus. It brings clarity. It removes the need to blame or explain, because you are no longer reacting to life. You are creating it. You are deciding every moment what matters most and what you are willing to sacrifice to honor it. It is easy to give away your time to people who do not value it. It is easy to say yes to everything and then feel resentful, drained, directionless. But responsibility means learning to say no without guilt. It means drawing lines even when it makes people uncomfortable. It means recognizing that every hour spent on something meaningless is an hour stolen from something meaningful. And you do not get those hours back. They do not come with second chances. Once they are gone, they are gone. Some people live like life owes them something, like one day things will magically align and everything will just work out. But nothing works out unless you work, unless you show up again and again, even when it is hard, boring, slow. Being responsible is not glamorous. It is not about motivation or passion. It is about showing up when it is inconvenient. Choosing growth over comfort, choosing discipline over desire, choosing your long-term peace over short-term pleasure. Responsibility also means owning your failures, not as shame, but as information. If something went wrong, ask why. Not who to blame, but what to learn. You will never grow if you keep playing the victim in your own story. You are not helpless, you are not stuck, you are not doomed, you are simply choosing not to change. And that is a hard pill to swallow, but once you do, it sets you free. Because if it is your fault, then it is also in your power to fix it. You do not need permission to start showing up for your life. You do not need everyone to understand or approve. You just need to stop handing your time, your energy, your hours to things that do not serve you. You are not too late. You are just too distracted, too disconnected from your purpose, too used to waiting instead of acting. But the moment you decide that your hours matter, that your time is not cheap, everything begins to shift. Not because life gets easier, but because you become stronger, more aware, more intentional, more in control of how you live. The right time is a myth. Action creates timing. Most people spend their whole lives waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for the fear to go away, waiting for everything to fall into place. But the truth is, nothing ever becomes perfect. Conditions are never fully ideal. Your mind never stops doubting, and time never pauses to give you a better opportunity. If you keep waiting for the right time, you will keep waiting forever. What actually creates momentum in life is movement. Action even when you are unsure, action even when you are scared. The people you admire are not fearless. They just moved anyway. They did not have it all figured out, but they chose to start, and in starting they learned. In learning they grew. And in growing they built their own version of right timing. It was not handed to them. They did not stumble upon it. They created it by doing something, anything, that moved them forward. Waiting feels safe. It gives you the illusion of control. But deep down, it is just fear dressed as logic. You tell yourself you are preparing. You are researching. You are being responsible. But what you are really doing is avoiding the discomfort that comes with beginning. The messy start, the awkward first steps, the possibility of failure, and that fear convinces you that waiting is wise, when it is actually the most dangerous thing you can do. Because while you wait, life moves, opportunities pass, energy fades, confidence shrinks, and before you know it, the thing you wanted feels further away, not closer. You tell yourself you missed the window, but the truth is there was no window. You were supposed to build it yourself. Action builds clarity. You do not think your way into courage, you act your way into it. Every brave move you make teaches you something. Every mistake reveals something. And that is how timing unfolds step by step, not all at once. People think they need motivation first. They do not. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like weather. If you build your life around it, you will only act when you feel good. And that means you will rarely act. What you need is commitment. What you need is honesty. To admit that you are afraid, but also to admit that fear is not a reason to stay still. Growth does not come from comfort, it comes from choosing to move even when it is uncomfortable. Some of the best decisions in your life will feel too early when you make them. You will doubt yourself, you will wonder if you are ready, but readiness is not a feeling, it is a decision. You decide that your dream matters more than your fear. You decide that progress matters more than perfection. You decide that today is enough, that now is enough, and you begin, not because you feel like it, not because it is easy, but because you are done letting fear hold the pen. Every person who has ever changed their life had to take that leap. They had to say yes when their mind said wait. They had to trust that action would lead to alignment, that showing up would lead to progress, that time would not just hand them purpose, they had to create it. The right time is not a date on a calendar. It is not when the stars align or your nerves disappear. It is the moment you stop waiting and start doing. It is the moment you decide that your future is more important than your excuses. It is when you look at the chaos and begin anyway. That is what creates real change. That is how lives are built. Not in waiting, but in choosing to act when everything inside you says to delay. Regret hurts more than failure. It stays longer. It cuts deeper. It is not just the memory of something going wrong. It is the memory of not even trying. Failure at least gives you a lesson, a scar, a story, but regret gives you silence. It gives you unanswered questions, missed chances, and the constant replay of what could have been. You carry it not just in your mind, but in your body, like weight you cannot explain. It creeps in during quiet moments and asks you, why didn't you try? People fear failure so much that they build their whole lives around avoiding it. They stay in jobs they hate. They avoid relationships. They talk about dreams but never take the first step. They become masters of convincing themselves that they are being smart, being careful, being realistic. But deep down, they are just scared, scared of not being good enough, scared of what others will say, scared of falling flat on their face. So they settle. And one day they wake up and realize that playing it safe did not protect them from pain. It led them straight into it. Failure is honest. It tells you immediately when something did not work. It gives you feedback. It pushes you to grow. But regret is dishonest. It pretends you were being wise when really you were just being passive. It waits until it is too late. And then it whispers you missed it. That opportunity, gone. That moment, gone. That version of you who was brave enough to dream. You let them disappear, and that is a pain that does not go away easily. The truth is, you are going to fail at some things. That is not a possibility. It is a guarantee. You are going to make the wrong choice sometimes. You are going to say the wrong thing, take the wrong turn, trust the wrong person. But failing does not mean you are a failure. It means you tried. It means you cared enough to show up. It means you lived. People who never fail are not impressive. They are invisible. They are the ones who sat out while life passed them by. The most fulfilled people are not the ones who got everything right. They are the ones who kept showing up. They failed and still stood back up. They lost things, lost people, lost parts of themselves, and still moved forward. Because they knew that chasing something meaningful was always worth the risk. They knew that living with what if was far worse than living with at least I tried. That kind of courage is not loud. It does not always come with applause, but it brings peace, and peace is worth everything. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing to try. To take one step, even if your hands are shaking. To say yes, even if your voice is trembling. To begin, even if the ending is unclear. You might fall, you might lose, but you will know. You will know that you did not let fear win. You will know that you honored your own voice. That matters more than any outcome. There is no rewind button, no going back to fix the things you never did. All you have is now, this moment, This decision, and every time you choose action over avoidance, bravery over comfort, you take power away from regret. You silence it before it grows. You protect your future self from asking, "Why didn't I go for it?" Because someday you will look back at this day. And when you do, let it be with pride, not pain. Let it be with memories of courage, not the ache of missed chances. Self-discipline is the greatest form of self-respect. It is not about controlling every moment or living a life without joy. It is about honoring your time, your values, your goals. It is about choosing what you want most over what you want now. People often think discipline is punishment, but it is the opposite. It is protection. It protects your future from the damage of careless decisions. It keeps you steady when the world is loud and tempting. It reminds you that you are worth the effort. There is a strange pride that comes from doing the hard thing when no one is watching, waking up early when it is easier to sleep in, saying no to distractions when it would be easier to give in, studying when your mind wants to wander, saving money instead of spending it all, working out when you are tired. These small moments, repeated again and again, build a kind of inner strength that no one can take away from you. They build a version of you that you can trust. Most people treat themselves like an afterthought. They show up for others, meet deadlines, say yes to everything, but cannot keep promises to themselves. They say they will start tomorrow. They say they will be better next week. But the truth is, every time you break a promise to yourself, you send a quiet message to your mind. My goals do not matter. My word does not matter. And over time, that erodes your confidence. Not because someone else let you down, but because you let yourself down. Discipline is not a talent. It is not something you are born with. It is a decision, and it is built in silence. You do not need a big audience or a motivational speech. You just need to start. One habit, one choice. One moment where you say, "I am not going to let this day slip through my fingers." You do not have to be extreme. You just have to be consistent. Because the most powerful results come from small efforts, done daily, with purpose. When you are disciplined, you start to notice something strange. You stop needing validation. You stop chasing approval. You stop comparing yourself to people who are louder but not deeper, because you know what you are building. You know the price you are paying. You know the peace that comes from structure. While others are running in circles, you are moving forward. Quietly, calmly, powerfully, you will not always feel like doing the work that is expected, but discipline does not wait for the right mood. It shows up anyway. It respects the goal, not the emotion. Your feelings are valid, but they are not always accurate. They tell you to quit too soon, to take it easy, to skip the hard parts. Discipline reminds you that comfort is not the goal. Growth is. It trains you to be stronger than your excuses, to lead yourself when motivation fails, to keep moving even when the results are not instant. And slowly, that discipline turns into identity. You start seeing yourself differently, not as someone trying, but as someone doing, not as someone hoping, but as someone becoming. The habits you once forced become the habits you rely on. The structure you once resisted becomes the path that holds you steady, and the respect you used to beg for from others is something you now give yourself. People often chase confidence like it is something they can borrow, but real confidence is built through action. Through the quiet decision to do the right thing over and over, even when no one claps for it. Discipline gives you that. It gives you freedom, it gives you pride, it gives you a version of yourself that you are proud to wake up as. It gives you the strength to say no, the patience to wait, and the power to rise again and again, even on the hardest days. Social media is not your life is waiting off screen. The moment you open your phone, the world changes. You stop being where you are and start living through other people's moments, opinions, highlights, and distractions. It feels like connection, but it is not. It feels like inspiration, but most of the time it is comparison. You scroll and see curated pictures of happiness, success, beauty, and suddenly your own life feels small. But it is not small, it is just real, and real is not shiny all the time. The problem is not that social media exists. The problem is that people forget it is a tool, not a reality. It was created to connect us, but somewhere along the way, it started controlling us. Every like became a measure of self-worth. Every comment became a reason to keep performing. Every post became a performance instead of a memory. You start living for the camera instead of living for yourself. You stop asking, "Am I happy?" and start asking, "Do I look happy enough?" People think they are relaxing when they scroll, but really they are numbing. They are avoiding the silence, the discomfort, the work they do not want to face. And slowly, without even realizing it, they start replacing real experiences with virtual ones. A walk becomes a photo opportunity. A meal becomes content. A quiet moment becomes a chance to post a quote. The most beautiful parts of life get filtered through screens instead of being lived. Your life is not meant to be watched like a story. It is meant to be felt deeply, fully, the laughter that no one sees. The small wins that no one claps for, the tears that are not posted, that is where life is. That is where growth happens. But social media trains you to think you are missing out unless you are constantly visible. It makes you believe that your value is based on attention, that your success needs to be proven publicly, that your journey only matters if it is liked, shared, or reposted. The irony is, while you are watching other people live, your own life is passing by. The projects you keep postponing, the conversations you keep avoiding, the dreams you keep pushing aside because your time is buried in endless scrolling. You wake up tired, not because of your schedule, but because of your distractions. You feel anxious, not because life is hard, but because your mind is overstimulated by things that do not actually matter to your soul. You are not supposed to be available to the world all the time. You are allowed to disconnect. You are allowed to protect your energy. You are allowed to live your life privately, quietly, purposefully. You do not need to share everything to make it real. You do not need digital applause to validate your joy. Some of the most sacred moments will never be posted, and they will still be beautiful. When you step away from the screen, you begin to remember who you are. You begin to feel your own rhythm again. You start noticing the sky, the way your food tastes, the sound of someone's voice, the way your heart feels when you do something meaningful. You reconnect with your own voice, your own pace, your own purpose. And that is what most people are truly searching for, even if they do not say it out loud. The question is not whether social media is good or bad. The question is whether you are in control or being controlled. Whether your phone is a tool you use or a trap you fall into. Whether you are living a life you are proud of or just building a profile that looks good. Real life is not pixelated. It is messy, vivid, and powerful, and it is happening right now, whether you are watching or not. Every small step today shapes your big future tomorrow. Most people think transformation happens in giant leaps, in dramatic moments of change, in grand achievements. But that is not how growth works. Real progress is quiet. It hides inside the small, often invisible choices you make every day. Waking up on time, saying no to a bad habit, practicing instead of procrastinating, choosing to read instead of scroll. These steps do not look powerful, but over time they become unstoppable. The reason most people stay stuck is because they underestimate the value of one small step. They think if it is not a huge breakthrough, it is not worth doing. They want fast results, instant changes, overnight success. And when that does not happen, they give up. They do not realize that the people they admire, the lives they wish for, were all built the same way. Day by day, effort by effort, habit by habit. There was no magic, just consistency, Each step you take today sends a message to your future. It says, I am coming for you. I am building something. I am not waiting for motivation, for the perfect mood, or for anyone to come save me. I am moving forward, even if it is slowly, and that kind of discipline adds up. It turns into routines. Routines become lifestyles, lifestyles shape identity, and identity defines what you do, what you attract, what you become. It does not matter how far away your dream looks. What matters is whether your actions are aligned with it. Every small decision is a vote for the person you are becoming. You cannot say you want peace, but keep choosing chaos. You cannot say you want growth, but avoid discomfort. You cannot say you want purpose, but waste your energy on meaningless things. The life you want is not waiting at the end of a finish line. It is being built right now in how you live your hours. Even when it feels like nothing is changing, something is. The act of showing up rewires your brain. The habit of keeping your word builds self-trust. The decision to be intentional gives you back control. And slowly your mind stops seeing the impossible as distant. It starts seeing it as a process you are already in. That shift alone can change your life more than any goal ever will. You are not too late. You are not too far behind. You are just one step away from being on track. And after that, another step, and another. The path does not reveal itself all at once. It opens up as you move. You learn by walking, not by standing still. You grow by doing, not by waiting to feel ready. And in that motion, you discover strength you did not know you had. Sometimes you will feel like your steps are too small to matter. But nothing is small when it is done with intention. A 5-minute workout still counts. One page of a book still teaches something. One honest conversation still brings clarity. One kind act still spreads impact. You do not need 100 steps right now. You need one, the one that moves you out of doubt and into action. When you look back a year from now, it will not be the big moments that changed everything. It will be the days you did not give up, the days you kept going when it was boring, uncomfortable, or slow. The days you chose to do the right thing even when no one was watching. That is how futures are made, not by luck, but by choice. Not by force, but by daily effort, not by waiting, but by doing something, however small, today.